Go even further and get your whole meal catered. Just order online by November 26th. Get Thanksgiving ready at Whole Foods Market. Terms apply.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Bachelor Happy Hour. I'm Joe.
And I'm Serena.
And we are here with the Golden Bachelorette runner-up. Guy, welcome to Bachelor Happy Hour. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to this, actually.
Nice.
We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
What exactly are you looking forward to?
I guess it's because I've watched some of these podcasts before, and I just thought it would be an enjoyable experience to be able to tell my side of the story from what I experienced that is a little different than some of the other men.
Well, you're wrong because we're going to grill you now. I'm joking. It's going to be, it's going to be fun. So let's get into the beginning of your journey. How did you wind up going on a show like this?
Yeah. So I had somebody reach out to me on social media who thought that I would be my profile, or that I would be a great candidate to be on a reality TV show called The Golden Bachelorette.
What are you posting on social media that you think got her attention?
Pictures of me and my real life, what I do on a regular basis. So I tend to put, I don't post a lot, but it's usually things that represent me, whether I'm riding my bike in the Swiss Alps or whether I'm riding my bikes on the cobbles of Belgium, whether I'm ice climbing in Alaska, or sea kayaking in Prince William Sound. So I then also post things with my kids because they did a lot of those things with me.
Have you always been like an adventurous guy?
I'd say the answer is yes. Back in a former life of mine, I've run over 10 marathons. I did a Canadian Ironman. I did multiple triathlons during a certain phase. I eventually then progressed to road biking, and I absolutely loved road biking. And that's why I went to France 6 times to ride stages and watch the Tour de France. I watched the Giro d'Italia. I went to Belgium to ride what it's called the Spring Classics. Those are some of the things I did back in the day. I did other things also, but those were kind of my mainstays.
Okay. Wow. All right. I wasn't expecting this. This is good. This is good. How old? What did you do first? Did you do a marathon first?
Yeah. The very first marathon I ever did was the New York City Marathon. It was my 4th year in medical school. I was doing a rotation in Philadelphia, and on a whim, after staying up till 2:00 for Halloween, I got a 4 hour sleep. I took a train from Philly to New York. I had no idea what I was doing, but I brought running stuff with me. I thought I'd run 5 miles. I made my way down to the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. I jumped in to run 5 miles, which turned into 10, which turned into 15. And then I finally said, you know what? Let me see how far I can go. I ended up running the whole thing. Yeah. So
how old were you?
I was 27 years old at the time.
Do you have like what's your best score to date?
You mean how fast I ran a marathon?
Yeah.
My best was a 3:27.
Wow.
Yeah,
that was at Cal International.
I ran my first one last year. I did it 3:58, and then I was planning on running it this year. I wanted to break 3:40, but then I got sick and I had the flu and I couldn't run it.
Yeah. I had so many times where I thought I was going to run 3:15s and things like that, but all best made plans always come to an end.
And you've done an Ironman?
I did. I did the Canadian Ironman in 1995. I got into doing triathlons, and I knew I could run. I knew I could get through a bike, even though it's 112 miles. And I'd run marathons. And the hard part was, could I swim 2.4 miles? So I got up one morning on a Saturday morning. I went down to the indoor pool. I put my wetsuit on. I jumped in the pool, and I swam 2.5 miles without stopping. And at the end of it, I said, you know what? I can do the swim part now. Because swimming, you can't just stop. If you stop, you drown.
Wow.
That is true.
So I did that. So and that's when I decided to do it. In a group of friends of mine from Reno, we all decided to go up and do the Canadian Ironman. And,
Where's the Canadian Ironman?
they've changed locations, but at the time I did it, it was in Penticton, which is just north of Spokane, Washington.
Okay, this is
do
good.
you have I was gonna say, do you have a favorite one that you've done out of all the marathons, triathlons, everything? Is there one that stands out to you?
Yeah, no question for me, it's the New York City Marathon. I did it 3 times, and I guess the reason I love New York is the amount of energy that was there. It was the largest, and I love that you ran through all 5 boroughs, so you got to experience the music, the culture, the smells. There was over 1 million people on the streets, and so you'd run from Brooklyn, and there'd be reggae music playing, to getting into Queens, and then have Bruce Springsteen on, and it's just in different areas. It just had this different feel and flavor, and it was just, and the sport is off the charts. The number of people that are there supporting you all the way, and I ended up I ran to New York 3 times.
Nice. Okay, so let's go to the show.
Okay.
You're an adventurous guy. Did you ever think that you would do something like going on The Bachelor?
I'd never even heard of it, actually. So
you never heard of the show in general?
I'd never seen an episode. I knew that there was a show, and what I knew about it was, there's a show where the young kids get together, and if you get a rose, that's a good thing. If you don't get a rose, that's a bad thing. And at the end, the young kids hook up.
That's the general premise. Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, and you keep further along to go, the better it is, right?
So when they reached out to you about the potential to go on the show, what was your initial reaction?
My honest initial reaction?
Yeah, you're honest.
My honest initial reaction was, when I got reached out, I thought it was BS. I thought the person was just trying to scam me. Then I watched 4 episodes of The Golden Bachelor, and I said, oh my gosh, this is the silliest thing I've ever seen. I am not going to do this. However, a lot of things changed in my life, and I call this just a transformational journey for me. And that's over the last 10 months now. And, I started to develop a really good relationship with my kids. I decided back in April, before I even was accepted, that I was going to hang up my stethoscope, because I'm an ER physician, and I'd worked 35 years in the same place, and I had done everything I wanted to do. I was a medical director. I was the chief of staff of the hospital. I was an ER doc by trade. And I was turning 66, and I just thought, it's time for me to step aside. And I wanted to go out with game. A lot of times, a lot of athletes or whatever, they stick around 1 year too many, and I wanted people to still respect me for what I did. So I decided to hang it up. And then eventually, I started getting happier and happier in my life, and that's when I got the call. And I still wasn't 100% sure. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. Not really knowing what it was all about. But I thought it'd be a great experience to see what it was like behind the scenes. I had no expectations going into the show.
When you watched the 4 episodes of The Golden Bachelor, did any of the women stand out to you?
Yeah, it's interesting, because when they were telling me they're going to announce the big reveal, I had watched it, and all the women I thought were lovely, but the person who stood out, and I said, in my mind, I said, it's got to be her, or they got to pick somebody new, and that her was Joan. Okay,
so let's go to you stepping out of the limo and seeing Joan in person for the first time. What's going through your mind? Are you handling the situation? Are you a nervous wreck?
I was nervous, but surprisingly, I never got really nervous during any of the filming. Even the other night with the live, which I thought I'd be off the charts nervous about, but I really wasn't. But I can tell you, getting out of the limousine, I was nervous, mostly because I had already planned on what I was going to say. I had written a poem, and I was going to just say it to her.
You don't recite a poem, correct?
I don't, and I did a thing where I just sprayed different colognes on, and she had to pick the one she liked.
We really liked your entrance. I forgot that was
I don't know about we. I don't know about we. I really liked your entrance.
No,
I
liked it too.
Yeah.
I liked it too.
When you came out, I remember Serena and I were like, they have chemistry. There's something there.
And you were very smooth with your delivery, and it was definitely it was a standout for us.
It was fun. It went really well, as well as it could, considering I was ad-libbing everything. But I think the idea that using olfactory scent to try to because I was trying to get her to remember me, right? That you only had a short period of time. Like, she needs to remember me. What can I do? And I thought she might find this cute that, oh, he smelled really good. Now I'm going to remember him. And I wore the same cologne the whole time I was there, though.
When you walked away from her, did you feel good about your meeting with her?
I did feel good. I almost heard in the back of my head as I was walking away, and I saw it later. She said, "Ooh, he's handsome," which I thought was like, okay, that's positive,
Yeah, that's a good thing.
And she smiled really big when I got out of the limo. So those were two like positive things, but she may have done that with every man.
Congratulations to CBS Sports and Sony Electronics for their first place wins for innovation in industry at this year's Unconventional Awards by T-Mobile for Business. In a collaboration that was clearly built on breaking new ground, CBS and Sony created a first-of-its-kind broadcast for the PGA Championship. Using a custom-built T-Mobile private 5G network to power the live production, they deployed a 5G wireless camera system throughout the event. The network's speed, combined with Sony's innovative ultra-low latency video codec, allowed for seamless, high-quality footage without disruption. With that innovative approach, CBS gave broadcasters the tools they need to do what they do best, take their coverage to entirely new places. These innovations will shape the way live sports are covered moving forward, and for that, T-Mobile congratulates Sony and CBS for their unconventional thinking.
Step into the world of Crumble, where delicious desserts are packaged in the iconic pink box. In 2017, two cousins embarked on a flavorful journey to create the best chocolate chip cookie. But that was just the beginning. Today, Crumble's weekly rotating menu features an array of desserts like Tres Leches cake and Snickerdoodle, so there's always something delicious that everyone will love. Whether you're picking up a mini cookie for a quick treat or a party pack of desserts to share with friends, every treat is crafted with love and creativity. With the mouth-watering aroma of freshly baked desserts in the air, Crumble's open kitchen concept invites you to witness our talented bakers whip up delectable treats right before your eyes, adding an extra layer of excitement to your visit. And with the convenient options for delivery and pickup available, enjoying Crumble has never been easier. Perfect for family gatherings or simply treating yourself, Crumble's amazing desserts turn every moment into a delightful celebration. Visit your nearest Crumble today. Explore the delicious options on the Crumble app and experience dessert like never before.
For many of us, the holiday season means more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more of your personal information in more places you can't control. It only takes one innocent mistake, even if it's not your mistake, to expose you to identity theft. Not to worry, LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second and alerts you to threats you could miss by yourself, even if you keep an eye on your bank and credit card statements. If your identity is stolen, your own U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed. The last thing you want to do this holiday season is face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or other financial losses from identity theft all alone. Gift yourself the peace of mind that comes with LifeLock and spend more time doing more of the holiday things you love. Visit lifelock.com/iHeart and save up to 40% your first year. That's 40% off at lifelock.com/iHeart. LifeLock, for the threats you can't control.
Going into that first rose ceremony, how did you feel? Were you nervous or were you feeling confident?
I was nervous every single rose ceremony. I just didn't know what she was really looking for. I didn't know how the process worked. I was crazy nervous. I can just tell you, at the end of the first rose ceremony, I got emotional. I will say that the reason I got emotional was a culmination of many things. We got to see our family members, and specifically my daughter, Mackenzie, spoke to me on the TV screen. Every guy broke down, including myself. And then I got the rose, the fourth out of the 18 roses. So I was secure very early on, but it gave me time to reflect. And in that rose ceremony goes a long time. And I started just feeling this overwhelming sense of acceptance. And it really got me emotional. And then I realized that some of the guys that I'd been close with, even a short period of time, they were going home. And you put all that together, and all of a sudden, my eyes start welling up. Excuse me. I said, "Guy, don't do it." I said, and so I opened my eyes as wide as I could. I started blinking. I said, just think about something else. And it just got worse. My chin started shivering and quivering. And all of a sudden, I just felt a tear come down. And I thought, doggone it. I said, if I reach up, they're going to notice me. And they're going to bring attention. So I said, don't bring attention to yourself. So I just kept doing that. Well, it didn't work, because at the end of the night, Jesse said, "Guy, we noticed you got a little emotional. Could you share that with us?" And I was like, doggone it, Jesse. I said, I was hoping you guys didn't see that. And then I wasn't sure they were actually going to put it on TV. But of course, very first night, there I am. Being the first cryberry.
Did your kids or your daughter, did they give you any advice prior to going on the show?
They were supportive. I did ask them ahead of time. They didn't give a lot of advice. They just were concerned, and they just said, "Dad, social media can be brutal, and just be very careful with what you say, because things can be taken out of context. They can take a sound bite and manipulate it." And that was the only somewhat advice,
So now you're in this, what seems to be a frat house, right?
That's what I called it. I said, they said, "What was the mansion like?" I said, "It was a fraternity house on steroids,
Yeah.
And I also said it was a retreat for sexagenarian men, 60-year-old men who snore and get up in the middle of the night 5 times a night.
Out of all the guys, who were you closest with?
2, and they were roommates, and that would be Charles L. and Gary Livingston. I got really close with both of them.
Gary was on our podcast, and he spoke very highly of you.
Yeah, we bonded the very first night before we got out of the limousine. We found that we had a commonality, that we both have faith, and we took that, and Gary actually would pray over us before every rose ceremony.
Oh, that's so nice.
You had a really special moment with Charles L. when he talked to you about the passing of his wife. Yes. Can you describe that for us?
Yeah. It was. I'll tell you, I've done it 1,000 times as an ER physician. That's what I do every day, is talking to patients and their families about what just happened. But with Charles, it was unexpected. I completely forgot that we had our mics on, so I wasn't thinking much of it, other than he said, "Can I talk about something?" I allowed him the opportunity to go over every detail about his wife's passing. During the conversation toward the end, I finally realized Charles is harboring all this guilt that he could have done something different to have saved his wife's life. And I finally, and I don't know if you really don't see it, because it went on, there's more editing, but I took him by the shoulders and I looked him right in the eyes and I said, "Charles," I said, "you did nothing wrong." I said, "The paramedics, the ER docs, the neurologists, the neurosurgeons did nothing wrong." I said, "Your wife passed away from a condition that was fatal the moment it happened. It doesn't matter where she was. But his big thing that he couldn't stop thinking about was, and it hit me again. He goes, I don't understand. She's bleeding from her mouth. I said, Charles, I said, that had nothing to do with why she passed. I said, do you remember when she slumped against your shoulder, fell to the ground? I said, she either bit her tongue or her cheek. And that's why there was blood coming from her mouth. He said, nobody ever explained that to me. And he actually got little tears in his eyes. And I don't think they showed this on the show. He got tears in his eyes and he said, Charles can love again.
Yeah.
And that was
sweet.
That was a poignant moment. And I still wasn't completely aware of it until later. It was brought to my attention that everybody was listening to that. And then I saw subsequent shows where he talked about it. And that's when it really hit me. And it hit me because, I've done this for 35 years and I've known I've had an impact on people's lives by being an ER physician. But for this specific moment, I felt like I had an incredible opportunity and I was honored to be able to change his life. Mm-hmm. And a lot of us never get that opportunity. And I had that opportunity with Charles. And that's how we first bonded.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So,
that's a really healing moment for him, I'm sure.
Yes.
So you're having these, bonding moments with the guys in the house. You're having a good time. When do things, because, you're the number 2 guy, when do things get serious between you and Joan? When do you feel like they take that, your relationship goes into that next step? Yeah.
Joan and I had a little conversation. I would say that she and I had as she referred to as a slow burn. I was very guarded. I was very skeptical about the whole concept. And so I was not willing to let it all out like some of the other men might have. And I kind of held back. And so I think by that, maybe she didn't know if I was really as interested, but I let my guard down. I just told myself, I'm going to give this the opportunity. I believe in the process. Plus, I kept getting happier. Every rose ceremony, I got happier and happier and happier. And I was doing this journaling, and so I was self-reflecting, and I was really getting into a good mind space. And so it was probably it was the hometown visit. That's when for me it changed.
What about that? What about that hometown?
So when she announced the 4 guys, it was Pascal and Jordan, Chuck and I were the 4th. I actually turned to the other guys at the rose ceremony. I say, I hate to tell you this. I said, but I got hometown advantage. And they were like, what are you going to do? Because 2 of them were from Chicago. I said, just watch the show. And my hometown could not, at least from my perspective, and I believe from hers also, it could not have gone any better. We spent the morning up at Lake Tahoe, which is, I call it in my backyard because it's a 45-minute drive up over the hill. And it was a picture perfect day, glass, not a cloud in the sky, no wind. We went out on the lake. I talked to her in the boat. I talked to her about all these memories I had. It was a magical day. And then we stopped and we had, at one of the restaurants there by the pier, we had some champagne and ate. And then from there, we then got to go meet my family, which I'm the youngest of 8 kids.
Wow.
Yeah, Greg, Gary, Gerald, Gwen, Greg, Gary, Guy. And then she also got to meet my not all 4 of my kids, because my second daughter lives in London, couldn't make it back. But she got to meet my oldest daughter, Mackenzie, my grandson, Edan, son-in-law, Madi, Glenn, and Hank. And so I knew that when she was going to meet my sisters and she was going to meet my kids, that she would fall in love with them because they're rock stars. And they're down to earth, they're fun, they're funny. And I think she adored them. And so by the end of it, we had this final conversation. And, I told her that at that point I opened up more and said, I'm falling for you, which I had. And at one point she got a little teary-eyed. And I thought that she was starting to feel it also. And I thought that was a breakthrough moment for us.
Were you ready after that moment? Were you ready to get engaged? Did you picture yourself getting down on one knee?
Not at that moment. I think that I then had to go to the exotic location. So
okay, so you go to the exotic location and it's you and Chalk left. Are you aware of where their relationship status is?
Yeah, at the time, I knew right from the beginning that Chalk was full gas. He wanted Joan right from the beginning. I was obviously a little held back much more than he did. I did a little gamesmanship with him halfway through the show, but just kind of mess with him. Yeah, that's what you do. Just but I didn't know that Chuck was as aggressive as the way I would put it, as he was with his words, his thoughts, his actions. I was not aware of that because I don't see that. I don't see the one-on-one dates. I don't see that. So, and we as men, there was very little discussion about that as to, what each guy was saying. Nobody really talked about it.
Yeah. Honestly, that checks out. So then Joan shows up to your hotel room and delivers some bad news. But what were you thinking when she got there? What was going through your mind?
Can we go back to when we actually had our overnight first?
Yeah.
Let's go to the overnight.
Go that. Again, when I had my overnight date, again, just like my hometown, I thought I had the best. I mean, we got to go out on the catamaran. We went snorkeling.
Yeah, you had some good activities overall because your one-on-one date was like the cooking date, which was also a good activity.
And it was fun because we got to go out. There was sharks, there was eels. It was just a really fun, magical time, and really enjoyed that. And then that evening, we had a really nice, pleasant, beautiful dinner overlooking the water. And then we eventually made our ways to the overnight bungalow. And she had said ahead of time, as everybody knows, that she wasn't going to sleep with anybody, which I gave her kudos for, because I said, you have 4 kids, I have 4 kids. I said, they don't want to see us waking up in our pajamas. Okay. Yeah. I said, there's time for all that at this age, because I already felt the chemistry. It was just, but I didn't want to make her uncomfortable, my kids uncomfortable. And I mostly wanted to be very respectful, because I asked her permission to kiss her first 2 times. I didn't just make the assumption. And so maybe I should have been a little more aggressive with that. But so I had a wonderful one-on-one date. We talked about a lot of really heavy stuff without cameras and audio going on. And that was my MO for it. I said, you do not need any surprises 6 months down the road. I will tell you everything about my life. You ask me, you have any questions, let me know. And stuff I even volunteered that she probably didn't even want, but I felt like I needed to tell her so that she wasn't surprised. It would be disrespectful to her and to the whole process and to the show, because I think, having watched some of the other ones, I'm going, why did they not talk about these things? I talked about relocating, where I am in my life, retirement. How can we make it work? How do we make our kids meld together? How do you see day-to-day activities being? We were living in fantasy land up until that point. And now let's talk about reality.
Congratulations to CBS Sports and Sony Electronics for their first-place wins for innovation in industry at this year's Unconventional Awards by T-Mobile for Business. In a collaboration that was clearly built on breaking new ground, CBS and Sony created a first-of-its-kind broadcast for the PGA Championship. Using a custom-built T-Mobile private 5G network to power the live production, they deployed bachelorette Sony
or a party pack of desserts to share with friends. Every treat, celebration. Visit your nearest Crumble
doctor right away. Has difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or
or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn.
For me, is Joan my person? Show that Chuck talked about that all.
Conversation that there was still another guy there.
Talk to your doctor and visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
Did you guys have a conversation that there was still another guy there, that Chalk was there?
I never had conversations about the other men. I saw subsequently when I watched the show that Chuck talked about that all the time. For me, I will tell you, Joe, is that it was all about, for me, is Joan my person? And am I Joan's person? That was the only question that needed to be answered. I was not there. I did not see it as competition. This was not who wins. This was, do the two of us see ourselves having a life together? That was the question that needed to be answered. So I never worried about that. Well, she might like Chuck. She might like Pascal. Never even, I can honestly say, it never crossed my mind. I said, she either likes me for who I am and what I represent. And if that's meant to be, then she'll pick me or we'll get together.
At what point were you sure that you wanted to propose to Joan?
Yeah. After the fantasy suite night, that whole day and that night, that's when I said, okay, we talked about everything. We've covered all the important variables that you need to talk about really as an adult. And then I journaled and I just said, you know what? I feel great. I am ready to do this. I am ready to get down on the knee. I was ready that day to talk to her kids. I was so excited to see her kids because I thought they'd love me. Confidence. But I just felt this. I felt like we had so many similar interests and values that it was like, this is going to work. I mean, that's when I really said, this is going to happen. And I was going to ask their kids for their blessing, you know?
Yeah.
And I wanted to have that. I wanted to see real emotion from her children. Like, we really like you, not like, he seems like an okay guy. I mean, I wanted them to really know me, my family, what I represent. Mm. But unfortunately, I never had that opportunity.
Yeah. Yes. So let's talk a little bit about that. So she knocks on your door. You let her in. You know, you're in good spirits.
Yes.
What break down that situation for us?
Yeah. So unexpectedly, the knock comes on the door, and I open it, and there she is. Well, I should have been thinking, oh, this is not good, but I was just so happy to see her, and I was excited. And then we're talking. I show her around, and then we sit down and we start to talk. And I was actually hoping that she was about to tell me, you know what, I've thought about this, and I think that you're my guy, and I'm going to let the other guys go.
That would have been nice.
That was what I was.
Really nice.
That's what I was thinking for two-thirds of it. Then she got this look on her face, and then you can see my facial expression go from a smile to a forlorn look, and I said, "Oh, this is about to come." And then when she said, "My heart lies with," she told me how wonderful I was. She told me every characteristic, you know, like you. There's nothing wrong with you, but my heart lies with somebody else. And then that's when I got really emotional, because I was so, from that morning, during an interview, I had said, I'm going all in. I'm getting on a knee. I'm going to propose. I'm going to ask for a hand in marriage. I was like convinced. And within 30 minutes, that balloon burst, and it was over. It was over. And so that's why, and I'm a very emotional guy to begin with. And when I decided I was going to be all in, that was devastating. It was heartbreaking to me. And yeah, you can see it. I mean, they were very kind to me. I sobbed for minutes. It wasn't just like 10 seconds or something. I just could not stop sobbing because I was so convinced that I was the guy and this was going to happen. And I was so happy. And for it to have come to that conclusion was so difficult. And then, so we finished up, but I made it a point to tell her, because she felt awful. And never do I ever want Joan to feel bad, because I love Joan. I absolutely love her. I know now, after months, I will always love Joan. I just can't be in love with Joan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't want her to feel bad. Never will I ever throw her under the bus, ever, because she has a heart of gold. She is a wonderful woman. I can't think or say anything negative about her. And I say that with sincerity. And so I even said to her, I said, Joan, please don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. I'm going to be okay. But, we've all been through difficult times in our life. So I knew that I'd be able to handle it. I wasn't happy about it. Yeah. It took time, but I knew I would get through it. And I'm still in that process, because when I watched the show to see everything last night, it was a little more difficult than I had anticipated.
I was going to ask if watching the season back and seeing her relationship with Chalk, did that help bring you any sense of closure or even clarity?
It made me understand what his MO was, and it made me question myself. Should I have been a little more aggressive? But I could only say and do what was true to my heart. I was not going to say things prematurely. I could not be all in at the beginning. And there's certain things I just couldn't do, because I got to be true to myself. I got to be true to my heart. If not, I am doing her a disservice. That's disrespectful to her. But anyway.
So currently to date, where are you now with everything?
I will say that even though I didn't win, I won. And what I mean by that is she allowed me to have that transformational journey. And one of those is she taught me that she allowed me to realize that I can truly love again. That passionate love again. And she did that. The Bachelor show, Golden Bachelorette show did that, allowed me that opportunity with everything that went on. And I will thank them forever for that, because they changed my life. She changed my life.
How was seeing Joan at the finale the other night?
I was mentally prepared, because I wanted to see her. I was happy to see her. She did say some things that even on TV that made me question her decision. But, she picked Chalk. She's got to go with her heart. I mean, that's her decision. I can't make that decision for her. He's a great guy. I really like Chalk, so, and we were roommates.
What's harder, going on the Golden Bachelorette or being an ER doctor?
I can tell you, probably for the most part, it was going on the Golden Bachelorette.
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Only the reason I say that is there was a couple times where I was like so nervous. I said, I'd rather be taking care of 2 cardiac arrest patients at one time. I said, I'm not patting myself on the back, but I'm a really, really good ER doc. I can make split this. I know what I need to do. Split second decision immediately, and I'm pretty good at that. So, and I did it for 35 years. And So I was more comfortable in that environment, right?
Yeah.
Because
Maybe if you did 35 seasons of The Golden Bachelorette,
that's all.
then it would
You'd
be
be
a
a pro.
lot easier.
You
But
know what?
hopefully that never happens because the goal is to do as little as possible.
I wouldn't mind doing one more. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Oh, would
How
you? You would
was-
do it again?
Oh, absolutely. In a heartbeat. Not a question.
How was the after party and seeing all the guys again, seeing Chuck, and then there's rumors there was, the Golden Bachelor women were also there.
Yeah. Did we meet anyone?
It was great. I love seeing all the other guys. I was really looking forward to that because I didn't get to go on, Men Tell All, so I didn't see them. The other women, I got to meet some of the women. They were wonderful, really wonderful. I didn't get to meet all of them. I really wanted to meet Nancy, and I never saw Nancy because I thought she was a sweetheart when she was so supportive of Joan.
I love
at
her
the
so
very
much.
end. Yeah, and so I didn't get the opportunity, but the rest of it was fantastic, and even getting to meet some of the younger bachelors and people that were on the Bachelorettes. I'm going, okay, I am part of Bachelor Nation now.
You are. You really are.
Well,
so,
we love Nancy. Are you gonna shoot your shot? Because I believe she's single.
You know what? I have messaged her. We exchanged messages a few, but nothing of any substance. So,
Gotcha.
And I thought if she was really interested, she maybe would have sought me out that night. But I didn't realize she was there.
Well, we did hear from our producer that Nancy was at the party, but she was sick, so she went home early. But maybe you guys will have a chance to connect. And if you see her, you have to shoot your shot with her.
I will absolutely. She seems like a wonderful woman. She presents herself extremely well. So, I'd like the opportunity to speak with her.
Is there anyone else either in Bachelor Nation or any golden celebrities that you would be interested in meeting?
He's got somebody lined up in there.
You mean in the Bachelor Nation?
Yeah, or just anyone, any celebrities that you have a crush on. That
Celebrities, yes.
Yeah.
Like a Hollywood crush?
Sure, yeah. Who's your celebrity crush, Guy?
That was an easy question for me to answer, and it's Diane Lane.
Diane Lane.
Diane Lane. She is, I have had a crush on her. I think it was The Outsiders. She just seems to be, she's a natural beauty. I don't obviously know her, but she just seems like a really smart woman, down to earth. She seems like natural. She's not this made up type of movie star. And she is, I think she's 59 or 60. So she's age appropriate. Like my crush isn't somebody 30 years old. It's somebody that I could actually feel like I could actually go on a date with. And I know that I don't know if she's dating, but I know she's not married anymore. He was married to one of the Brolin brothers, and that happened about 10 years ago. So I thought,
wow,
there's my shot.
There's your chance.
So Diane
there's
Lane,
an opening. If
you're out there, I said, if you want to meet a nice ER doc, that's not your typical Hollywood guy, I'm your man.
There we go. Well, I mean,
fingers crossed for you, Guy.
She's probably not listening, but Nancy probably is. So,
hey, you never know. Maybe someone that knows her is listening, and they'll send her this clip.
You never know.
Well, Guy, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming on Bachelor Happy Hour.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you to both of you guys. I've been looking forward to it, and I love talking about this stuff. I love it because it was such a great experience for me.
Awesome.
Oh,
all
that's
right.
great. Well, we loved having you.
To all our listeners, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Bachelor Happy Hour. We really appreciate it, and we'll have exclusive interviews for you every week.
Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for listening. Bye.